available here on Bloomberg. Thanks for being with us. With big earnings coming up this week, Charlie's going to have a lot to chew on the next several days. It all gets rolling after the bell this evening with Palantir. As I read, pretty cool. 90% of S&P 500 companies have reported profits that beat expectations. So think about that the next time we start talking about a correction. It is, in fact, if this holds together here, this will be the strongest quarter for corporate profit growth in 5 years since we got out of COVID. And everyone's obsessed all day long with SK Hynix. Things are going pretty well for corporate America, and we're going to hear this week, as I mentioned, from a lot of companies, including down names like McDonald's and Disney. We'll have some tech as well with AMD, SpaceX tomorrow. We'll be talking more about it. With 92 days until the midterm elections. Yes, we're counting. Senators are too, not just to the midterms, but to Friday. It's going to be a big old episode of The Amazing Race to get out of town by the end of the week and see if they can actually get anything done while they're at it here. It's a big to-do list. John Thune's been here before, and we don't expect him to get the whole thing done. But we did want to spend some time with our friend Nathan Dean to figure out exactly how this might go. Because remember, reconciliation is going to take a back seat for the Senate Majority Leader. He wants to actually fund the government, knowing that if no one's getting along now, well, they're not even going to be talking when they come back after August recess, because it's going to be a full-on sprint to, yes, the election. So how about we just kick the can now and fund the government? Nathan saw this coming a mile away. He told us that's how it was going to happen. And here we are on the verge of a procedural vote that will take place at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So clients that called our friend Nathan actually got the straight deal. And, well, so did you, because you listened to Balance of Power. He's with us right now, our senior U.S. policy analyst. Back in the city, it's good to have you in the Capitol, sir. With 5 days left, what can get done if not only the CR?
Well, we told our clients this morning that even if the Senate passes this vote tonight,
yeah,
there's a funding fight coming in September. It's just a matter of who's the one fighting. Mm-hmm. So if the Senate does pass this bill, this bill does contain provisions out there that, A, doesn't have the Department of Defense funding the White House was seeking. It also has a couple of provisions there the White House is not going to like not allowing a political appointee to issue grants. Because remember, this is a bipartisan bill that has the sign-off of some Democrats. So if this bill goes forward, come September, the fight isn't between Republicans and Democrats. It's between the Senate, the House, and the White House.
Got it.
That's a different dynamic that if you were to fight over, let's say, if you're just going to debate the House bill, which is just a short-term funding gap to December 4th, that's a fight between Republicans and Democrats. So regardless of what happens, you're going to get a fight in September. But if you had read our notes, we're at a 40% chance of shutdown, and I am hearing from a lot of people in Washington telling me that I'm actually too high on that.
Wow. All right, you're at 40% for a shutdown.
Yep.
All right, so if you missed the last episode of The Amazing Race, what did they say? Scenes from last week. The House passed a CR.
Yep.
Thought that was a good thing. Then they all left town. Senate passes its own CR, different version, has to go back to the House then following recess, and you're saying that's when the fight breaks out.
Yeah, I think that's when the fight breaks out. Because, look, if the White House says, okay, the Senate deal contains these provisions that limits me, and look, that limits only through December 11th. So it's only through the funding period. But still, if it got through the December 11th period, then will it happen forward-looking? The White House says, look, I don't want any curbs on me whatsoever. And Senator Kennedy even floated this and said, we may not want to give curbs on who in the executive branch can approve grants. If that doesn't fly, President Trump could just come in through a Truth Social post and say, I don't support this. You need to pass the House version. And then that puts us back at square one.
So this is a proposed OMB rule that you've mentioned a couple of times now. This needs to be on your radar if you care about this stuff, that would expand the administration's power to rescind grant funding in the end, right?
Yep.
That's what they want. And this could derail government funding to the point of a shutdown.
Well, I don't think it's going to derail it because ultimately, and this is why I was at a 40%. Remember, some folks in the Capitol Hill are telling me I'm too high here.
Okay.
But why I'm at 40%, why I don't think a shutdown is going to happen, is because it's right before an election.
Yeah.
And whether you're a Republican or Democrat, having a shutdown right before the election is bad politics. Now, some will come back and say the Democrats in 2025, they didn't pay a political price for embracing a shutdown. That's true. But when you are a Democrat, and right now the prediction markets suggest that you're going to take the House of Representatives,
yes,
you don't want to do any harm. You just
but
want to
doesn't this go through December 11th? That wouldn't get us past the election?
Well, I mean, it gets us through, but taking that vote right now.
I understand.
Taking that
this
vote right now.
This is before the election.
This is before the election. This is September 30th.
So let's put that on the back burner for a minute, because, again, 5:30, by the way, this will pass the procedural, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it will.
Is it time for death watch on Clarity? Crypto is blowing in the wind, Nathan Dean.
So, and you heard me say this morning to my clients, is that I like to say, if I get something wrong, I'm going to buy you a Bloomberg coffee. Now, full disclosure, Bloomberg coffees are free in the pantry.
They're very good, though.
But they are very good, especially for the price point. But where I am going with this is that it is beginning to sound like I owe a bunch of clients Bloomberg
really?
coffees. Now,
oh, wow.
I'm not changing my odds right now, because my core theory on this is that the crypto folks want a deal because if not, in 2 years, a Democrat could ruin the party. Mm-hmm. The banks want a deal because if not, the crypto platforms get 2 years under a friendly regulatory environment. And moderate lawmakers want a deal because if not, crypto political action money is a real thing.
Yep.
And will either combat or support that candidate.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the Democrats who are needed to get this past the line, there is a lot of hesitation here because now, these anti-crypto, sort of like anti-data center, now you have to think about 2028 aspirations and so forth. There's other things coming into, but I wouldn't be surprised. So put this in your low probability event.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a bunch of Democratic lawmakers, if there was a cloture vote, say, you know what, I want to vote to keep the party going. Let's keep negotiations going through the August recess as to not upset the crypto PACs prior up until, say, September.
And forestall the spending
and
against them.
But again, that's a low probability. That's more of like...
This is good logic. That's fascinating.
Stuff that you should just talk around the water cooler or the Bloomberg pantry.
So you're 40%?
I'm at 60%.
60% for Clarity.
For Clarity. But again, I'm out of consensus, and I think I may owe a lot of people coffees.
Listen to how transparent this guy is. Now, if you turn out to be right, what do we owe you?
Just read my next iteration of the
that's
research.
Fine, and subscribe to his podcast. All right, I'm going to keep ticking down the list here. Reconciliation 3.0 is in nowhere land in the Senate. They're going to do that. Are we serious when they get back? I'm at
30% chance of reconciliation getting deal unless there's substantial changes to this. Now, the problem with reconciliation is that it's, largely Department of Defense funding for the Iranian war.
Yes.
You're not going to get much Democratic support on that. And you're forcing Republicans in moderate races, and I'm looking at Maine here, to take votes where American voters are not very popular, or at least don't have a favorable opinion of the Iranian conflict. So it's a very difficult thing here. Yeah. You also have farm aid, $11 billion. That's bipartisan. That's not the issue.
Sure.
The problem is that you have some folks in the Senate saying, look, I don't want this. I want $350 billion for the Department of Defense.
Right.
You also have folks saying—
That's what the president asked for?
Yeah, that's what the president asked for. You also have folks saying there's no offsets here. And so you're just going to increase the deficit.
Including some Republicans.
And we haven't even talked about the Save America Act. The Senate parliamentarians most likely are going to come in and say you can't do it. Long story short is that it would need a miracle to get through. And I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, it's not. But a lot of it's got to have to move quickly before the elections.
But when we have lawmakers on the air, Republican lawmakers on the air, professing that this is as good as done, you're telling them to take that with a grain of salt right now.
Well, I'm just saying let's look at the calendar.
But this could die on the vine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my theory on this is that when we get to September, if you have a government funding fight, that's going to take up most of the time. You also have things like you got to get the Farm Bill done. You got to get national flood insurance done. There are other things out there that have to happen by September 30th. It's a very tight window. Can they get reconciliation done in that period? Not so sure. And if you can try and get it for the lame duck, maybe, but during the lame duck, I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of different challenging portions here. I need to see Senator Thune come in here and say, here's what the strategy is, and I haven't seen it yet.
If the Senate votes to advance the continuing resolution tonight, it'll leapfrog the Russia sanctions bill as the pending sort of legislative priority here. The sanctions wait till after recess as well? Are you focused on that?
So we're not focused on it purely all that much because in our view, the Russia sanctions bill comes down to President Trump.
Yeah, okay.
If President Trump wants the bill to pass to put pressure on Russia, then it will pass. We think that the support is there no matter what. But the thing from the investors that need to know here is that if the sanctions bill passes, it gives President Trump another tool to conduct tariffs. And this tool in particular allows President Trump to go back to the method of Truth Social post coming in at 8 a.m. Eastern, and then next thing you know, you have to deal with the market volatility of the tariff for the next 2 days before he either decides to move forward or scale it back. So the biggest thing is if that bill passes, you have to be on heightened watch for more tariff announcements.
They're arguing about who's got better quality coffee, the Bureau here in Washington or at World Headquarters in New York. Do we have a consensus on this, James? Questionable quality, CC? I've always had a pretty good coffee up there. You know what we have that they don't have? The cold brew.
Yep.
Is that part of your life?
Yeah.
As soon as you get used to it, they're going to take it away. That's how that's going to work. Glad you're back. Hope you had a great trip with the family. I'm glad to see that the vest is on, the fleece vest, despite the warmth here and the humidity in Washington. He's here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Nathan Dean, our senior U.S. policy analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence. He's hearing from the clients, and we bring him out here every Monday. If you subscribe to the Balance of Power podcast, by the way, you're going to get Nathan's and set you up every week here for policy here in Washington, D.C. We'll assemble our political panel next. Also back today is Rick Davis alongside Jeannie Shanzano. They're going to be with us as we tackle a couple of the issues that we were just talking to Nathan about. And, of course, everything that's coming out of the White House today that may be changing before our eyes. CBS News just now reporting no new negotiations are planned between the U.S. and Iran. We'll see what that does to the market. Stay with us on Balance of Power, only here on Bloomberg.